Aztecs fall to 1-1 on the season, losing to Oregon State at home 21-0. Hello and welcome to this post-game edition of Aztecs All In. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez. And Steve, it was a game of the Aztecs rolling down 7-0 after the third period, but they were never in the game. It was kind of a weird one.
Oregon State head coach Trent Bray and Aztecs Sean Lewis, they were singing off the same hymnal going into the game. Lewis saying, the opponent was on the schedule. Okay, we'll just be focusing on ourselves and try to do what it takes to win. And Bray told the media going into the game, we're out to play a game. We don't care who we play against. We're ready to go win. And they were more ready to go win as they proved on the field.
Yeah, the defense played well in spurts, but at the end, Oregon State with 420 total yards, the Aztecs with only 179, and they really couldn't get much going, and especially in the first half when they did make some plays, the penalties, huh?
Yeah, it's hard to win a football game when you're being dominated on the clock, Lewis, and the Aztecs were in this game. Oregon State had the ball for 41 minutes, 7 seconds. The Aztecs just 18:53, and when they had it, they weren't able to do a whole lot with it except for turning it over on one very untimely fumble around the 2-yard line by the quarterback, Danny O'Neal.
Yeah, I know the Aztecs didn't have the ball as much. If you had told me that it was that big a discrepancy, that would have shocked me. That's pretty wide. I mean, it's hard to win a game when you only have the ball for, less than 19 minutes, Steve.
Yeah, it was a night, honestly, going into this, I think the Beavers were very concerned, one, about, the heat because and we were too. We decided to hang out in the press box as opposed to sitting in our seats on the east side. And it looked to me like the Beavs were trying to avoid developing a pregame case of stagnum asinus, commonly known as the swamp ass. I'd go into more detail on it, but I think you get the idea from the name. Anyways, notably, Oregon State had a couple dozen who did not loosen up in full gear before the game. They had no pads, no helmets. This is about an hour or so before time. Then they went through a whole, regime of their stretching, something we both could probably use a bit more of. But I am told that was a standard practice for a certain number of the players, about 20 or so of them. The entire travel squad was geared up and running drills by 7 p.m. So my theory stated above is just that, a ridiculous theory that you are getting for free because, you get what you pay for.
The game turned in that third quarter. San Diego State finally got something going. A long pass to Lewis Brown, and they get down to the 2-yard line, Steve, and then catastrophe.
Yeah, it was just one of the, let's talk a little bit about the crowd, too. At the very beginning of it, it appeared that we were going to get a Texas A&M Commerce-sized crowd.
Yeah.
It just felt like, even though it was a later game, there were about the same number of people for a game that started at 5 o'clock. So was that people just kind of sauntering in and moseying because they were afraid of the heat?
Maybe.
Try growing up in the California desert if you want to know what real heat is like, kids. 85 degrees approaching kickoff. But, and also it seemed like in the very beginning there was sort of a muted response as a result from the crowd. But then the students picked it up. They showed up, and when the shots of the team went up on the scoreboard, the Aztecs took the field led by the flag carriers, and they stuck around until the second score, and then they hit it.
Steve, the biggest crowd excitement of the game is when the Aztecs ran onto the field, and the student section, they went crazy. And if you were just look at the student section, you think, wow, this place is packed. And the student section was packed, but not the rest of the stadium.
Well, as the game wore on, more folks got out from
Sure. People are in the concourse and the clubs, and rightly so. If it's air conditioned, they were sticking around in there. We didn't do that, Steve. No air conditioning for us.
No air conditioning.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to dig down deep and get maybe Carrier or some other air conditioning
to sponsor the podcast.
Maybe
hey, if anybody's listening,
or maybe just one of those little portable, guys cock around going whoo. Anyways,
it's little USB fans.
It's a home game. Aztecs set up to try to hold serve. Let's recap how they did. Hey,
Steve, Aztecs get the opening kickoff, but can't do anything with it. First play of the game, Danny O'Neal rolls out. but cannot hit a wide-open Deshaun Polk. Aztecs go 3 and out and punt. And to make matters worse, there's a face mask penalty during the punt return, so Oregon State gets to start on their own 47, and they took advantage of that, moving down the field quickly. 8-yard run, 16-yard pass, 7-yard pass, 6-yard run, and then capped off by a 16-yard touchdown run by Jam Griffin, who somersaults into the end zone to make it 7-0 Oregon State. Aztecs get the ball back on their own 25, and again, O'Neal rolls right, but can hit Polk. But they do move the ball on this drive. On 3rd and 12 from their own 23, O'Neal hits Marquez Cooper for 21 yards to their own 44. But on 3rd and 5, the drive stalls when a pass is deflected, and the Aztecs have to punt. But then the Aztecs defense stiffened up. On 3rd and 1 from Oregon State's own 43, the Aztecs get a stop, but the Beavers decide to go for it, and they convert on 4th and 1. Then on 2nd down, a 4-yard pass to Trent Walker made it 3rd and 5, but the defense was able to hold Jam Griffin to just 1 yard, and then on 4th and 4, with Cody Moon in pursuit of quarterback Giovanni McCoy, that forced an incompletion, and the Aztecs took over on downs on their own 46. Unfortunately, the Aztecs go 3 and out for the second time in the first quarter and finish the quarter with just 44 total yards compared to Oregon State's 109. Aztecs tight end Jude Wolfe talked about the team's offensive struggles after the game.
Yeah, subpar. I thought we didn't perform to the level that we can. Again, penalties, pre-snap penalties, things we have control over. We can't keep making those mistakes. And then executing when we have opportunities. I thought we had some good shots there, and we got to capitalize on it. Overall, we got to play a better game.
Steve picks it up at the start of the second quarter with Oregon State on the move. Steve?
Louis, the Union Tribune laid out the challenge for Danny O'Neal today. He would face more pressure from more talented defenders, particularly at the linebacker spot. In addition, the left side of the Aztecs offensive line weakened significantly by a big bite from the injury bug. Torn ACL costing starting left tackle Joe Bourgeon the rest of the season. He was down there on the field trying to cheer his teammates on along with Keenan Christensen. Also out, but he will not miss the entire season. They could use him back in a couple of weeks. O'Neal's backside did have 2 capable former starters to step in, but if it were me trying to protect my freshman QB facing a legit D1 FCS opponent for the first time, well, you're talking about a defense filled with athletes every bit as speedy and athletic as O'Neal. My game plan would call for even more running plays than the last game and some rollouts to O'Neal's right. We saw him on the move more often than not tonight, sometimes by design, others as he was forced out of the pocket. Getting back to Q2, though, the Aztecs trail by that score. Beavers have the ball in 31. It's 3rd and short. Defense on the field for close to 10 minutes of that last quarter. And they go right between the tackles for a gain by Hankerson. The drive continues. So they're trying to pressure the quarterback, the Aztecs do. Gabari Johnson carries for 23 to the Aztecs 43. 3rd and 6 after a couple of short gains. On the 39, they try a pitch out to Hankerson. On that play in particular, he was stoned by Josh Hunter for a loss of 2. That follows a punt reception by Mekhi Shaw when the Beavers are forced to punt. He bobbles it, ends up controlling it, but it turns out the Oregon State cover man didn't give him enough space, so the Aztecs get a drive that starts on their own 24 with the 15-yard penalty. That was Oregon State's only penalty of the half. O'Neal keeps it for a gain of 3. He'll complete his first pass of the night, this one to Deshaun Polk for 8 yards and a first down to the 35. Aztecs, though, again find themselves behind the 8 ball with another offside penalty. Then there follows a play that features a short gain and a carry by Cooper, and then another flag, holding. 2nd and 15 from the 30. O'Neal gets off a sharp-looking pass to Polk for 8. 3rd and 7. Picked up 2, does O'Neal, to Michael Harrison on the short pass, but that's nowhere near enough. Aztecs have to punt again. 9:05 in the half. Beavers ball on their own 22. Hits a pitch out to Griffin for 4. A McCoy completion for a first down to the 35, followed by an incomplete by McCoy under duress by the Aztec defenders. 2nd and 10, a short run by Griffin brings up 3rd and 7. McCoy is forced from the pocket on a scramble drill. It's complete, but not enough for the first down. Aztecs offense gets to try again, 6:25 left in the quarter from their own 12. By now, there is a little better crowd in the house trying to urge the Aztecs on. The call from Coach Sean is a give to Cooper between the tackles for 5. O'Neal then completes one to Louis Brown IV, a.k.a. LB, for a first down to the 27. More Cooper on the next play. Another dang flag then. Holding sets the ball back to the 17, 1st and 20. They try a pitch to Cooper, who hurdles for a short gain. The next play, a deep shot to Deshaun Polk with 2 defenders out with him, well overthrown. 3rd and 20, they give to Coop. He carries for 12. Aztecs have to punt again. 3:52 in the quarter. Beavers take over on their own 26. McCoy gives to Allah Salahayden for 2. McCoy finds a receiver open in a soft spot in the Aztec zone to bring up 3rd and inches. Mass substitutions by the Aztecs to no effect as Salahayden rumbles for 8 to the 43. That brings us to the 2-minute timeout mark. They come out of that with a short pass complete for 6. Another short pass complete for a first down to the Aztec 49. They go no huddle. They've been doing that the same as the Aztecs all game. Give Salahayden for the first down to the Aztecs 42. McCoy, all time in the world, to throw a complete pass over the middle to the Aztec 27. Another first down. Time running out. McCoy nifty on his feet to scramble to the Aztecs 27. 23 seconds left. 2nd and 4. McCoy time to throw, but has to throw it away. It's 3rd and 4. There are 17 seconds left. The crowd's making noise. McCoy has plenty of time to throw again, but no one open. He has to throw it away to bring on the place kicker. Everett Hayes with the field goal attempt from 38 yards out. It's no good, wide right. So it remains just 7-0 Beavers at the half, but the Aztecs in that half have 7 penalties that cost them 65 yards. Here's Coach Sean and Jude Wolfe, the tight end, talking about the penalties that hurt the Aztecs tonight.
Just our overall inefficiency, right? When we got behind the schedule, in the chains again for various reasons, and when we're off schedule that way, it makes it hard to stay, where you need to be, and then obviously have a D&D that's manageable on 3rd down. When you're putting yourselves behind the chains, it leads to obviously an output of 2 for 12 on 3rd down, and again that comes to the plan that we're putting in place for normal down and distance, so we can stay on schedule early in those situations, so we can have more manageable 3rd downs and be more successful in those areas.
Making sure that everyone is on the same page, having clear, transparent communication, whether it be from the sideline signals or from the calls we're getting from a quarterback. Everyone just needs to be more focused, more locked in, and there's no excuse for it. We just have to fix it, especially the pre-snap penalties.
Despite the penalties, the Aztecs only trailed by 7. Louis, take us into the 3rd quarter.
Beginning of the 3rd quarter, the Aztecs come out knowing they have to stop Oregon State's 2 running backs, Anthony Hankerson and Jam Griffin, who combined had 160 yards rushing on the night. Aztec defense comes out on fire. Oregon State starts the drive on their own 25 after getting a first down. Anthony Hankerson is tackled by Eric Johnson on 1st and 10 for a 1-yard gain. Then 2 plays later on 3rd and 6, Chris Johnson breaks up a Giovanni McCoy pass to force a punt. Unfortunately, the Aztecs couldn't do anything with it. O'Neal tries to go deep to Louis Brown IV on 1st down, ruled incomplete. I think the Beavers got away with a pass interference there, but not called. Aztecs go 3 and out and punt again. Aztecs defense comes up big on the next series, and the Aztecs got a little bit of luck, too. Oregon State tried a flea flicker on 1st and 10 from their own 41, and the deep pass goes right through the hands of Trent Walker. On 3rd down, McCoy scrambled, rolled to the right, and under pressure, throws incomplete on 3rd down, and then on 4th down, Max Garrison partially blocked an Oregon State punt, and the Aztecs get the ball at their own 45. The Aztecs finally made something happen. After getting a first down, O'Neal went deep to Louis Brown IV, who makes an amazing catch for 35 yards all the way down to the 7-yard line. Pass interference was also called on the play on the defense, of course, declined by the Aztecs. But on first down, O'Neal throws incomplete into the end zone. On second down, Cooper gained 5 yards to make it 3rd and goal from the 2. O'Neal calls his own number, but can't hold on to the ball. He fumbles. Oregon State recovers. Coach Lewis talked about what turned out being the Aztecs' last best chance to score.
I just need to do a better job with ball security on that, obviously, right? We tell our kids all the time, in all phases, that when in trouble, you double up. The ball's a little bit low and loose. And so, again, we got to continue to emphasize that as we go. Obviously, just at a critical moment there, it obviously was poor timing as we went forward with it. But just got to do a great job chinning the ball and doubling up so we don't have that momentum swing there.
So the Beavers get the ball starting on their own 2. They get all the way out to the 25, then give the Aztecs a break by committing a holding penalty on 2nd and 10 from their own 25, and then an ineligible man downfield penalty that makes it 2nd and 25, and they were backed up to their own 10-yard line. But the Beavers got out of trouble. On 3rd and 11, with the Aztecs trying to get the ball back, McCoy hits Trent Walker, who makes a nice move to avoid the defenders and turns it into a 25-yard gain. Oregon State moves all the way down to the Aztecs' 35, and then after an 11-yard Anthony Hankerson run, gets them down to the 24, and then 2 more runs get them to the 15. And that's where the third quarter ends. Steve, pick it up from there.
And the first play of the quarter is a bounce outside for a touchdown by Hankerson, 15 yards. We'll talk a little bit about how they try to execute that, the Beavers, in the seconds here, but the Aztecs are now down by 2 scores. Damaging turnover by O'Neal. But again, the defense allowed them to drive 98 yards for that score. Anyways, the Oregon State Beavers ran an outside zone play a lot tonight, and that was a play that they ran a lot to success against their opponent last week, and I imagine they will run it many times this year because it was quite effective. The idea is to cut off every defensive lineman at the line of scrimmage or soon after. Basically, blockers on offense simply try to use their speed and agility to get in front of defenders and cut off their angle to the football. Oregon State possesses what must be one of the tallest defensive linemen in senior Gerard Christian Leichenhen. He is 6'10", 315 pounds from Colorado. He has arms that measure 37 inches. It gives him a 7.5-foot wingspan where his coach has been working on him to utilize that to keep defenders away from ball carriers. And on that first scoring drive, there wasn't many Aztec defenders around. They had been sealed off. That big tackle nicknamed Tank just got to the edge, sealed it off. Griffin scored in that play with ease. And on the second score that we just recounted, they scored as well with relative ease. Aztecs now needing to score, and they are out to the 35 in no time. On a deep ball play with his man beat, O'Neal heaves it to Balin Brooks. It's a shade underthrown. It comes up incomplete. Cooper will carry the ball for no gain on 3rd and 10 on a screen, and that's when O'Neal comes up limping after a hard hit by 3 defenders. The screen pass incomplete with Cooper complaining interference, but no call. Then things seem to kind of start going off the rails. This rugby-style punt by Tyler Pastula blocked. It goes just 4 yards. On the play, Oregon State is whistled for a personal foul, but they are back in business on their own 46 after the penalty. 13:02 to play. That Aztec defense has been out there for what seems like the entire game by now. There's a first down run between the tackles. Bossala Hayden for 4. Another carry for 3. It's 3rd and 3. Another outside pitch to Griffin. There's that play. Another first down to the 38. Beavers no huddle. They are in no hurry. There's a carry for 3 yards by Griffin. That follows with a Sally Hayden carry for no gain. Brings up 3rd and 5. That took too long to get it off. Delay of game. 3rd and 11. 9:47 left. Aztecs show blitz. Stay home. A swing pass to Griffin. Hurdles at the far sideline. He is hit hard, loses track of the ball out of bounds at the Aztec 37. Along comes Hayes again to attempt a 54-yard field goal, and this one will miss to the right. Aztecs with the pulse, but the end zone is a stranger tonight, Lewis. 8:52 in the game. A short pass to Cooper for a loss. O'Neal is forced
out of the pocket on the next play. He sees a receiver ball running to his left. This is a good play. It's on target to Brooks. Defenders all over him because he's beat. The Aztecs will gain 15 on the PI to midfield. They stick with Cooper on first down for very little, except another flag at the line of scrimmage. This drive is going back 15. This time the call is a chop block. O'Neal whips a pass to Poke, but he can't handle it. 2nd and 10 on the 35. O'Neal on second down has a man open deep, but LB overthrown on that. So 3rd down complete to Brooks, but it's good for just 2. 4th and 18, the Aztecs are going for it. O'Neal tosses over the middle to Poke at the 42, but he can't hold on and absorbs a vicious hit by a DB. Turnover on downs on their own 42, 7:34 to play. The Beavers run between the tackles. Griffin for 3. Next play, he almost breaks it for another TD. Stopped after 11 at the 28. He gets 3 yards on first down. 2nd and 7, 25. Griffin again for a short gain, and it's 3rd and 3 at the 21. This is a rollout, a tight end. Bryce Caulfield is open in the end zone. Easy touchdown, 21-0. And below us, I can hear a boo bird hollering out. We will not repeat what he had to say. It was a cheap shot. Done and done and done. It's 21-0 final. No sugarcoating this one. The game did turn on the fumble by O'Neal, but that was one play out of an entire game, Lewis. Defense played hard, played well at times. They kept things close, but they still ended up giving up 237 yards on the ground, 183 total through the air. Aztecs pretty much throttled on the ground and in the air on their side of the ball, and those penalties. A total of 8 flags, 80 yards. Oregon State ended up with 6 for 65, but theirs ended up not costing as much. Here's Coach Sean, Chris Johnson, and Jude Wolfe helping sum this one all up for us, Lewis.
And they don't quit, right? I mean, I thought it was an unbelievable effort. At no point in time did I see anyone kind of hanging their heads or anything like that. I mean, they're going to fight. They're going to be resilient. We challenge them to respond, and they've done that in each asset and each facet of the game. Now, we need to do it at a higher level, right? But there's a desire to compete. They're a connected group, and I'm looking forward to seeing that bond continue to grow, right? The great bonds are formed under heat and pressure, right? Obviously, we're feeling a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure for the very first time, right? Awesome, cool, great. Let's embrace that, and let's become, together, right, as a unit, as a team, through this adversity, through these trials and tribulations, right, that come with this deal as we go, right? So looking forward to, again, the way that we respond.
Every game is opportunity to learn, and I feel like there's a lot of learning lessons in this game, whether it's, being disciplined, doing your job. I mean, the times we did execute well, we looked very, very good as a team, and we could be a real competitor for some of these teams. But then, obviously, it was outweighed by the amount of mistakes we made as a team. So, I mean, you can take everything with a grain of salt moving forward. It's motivating. But obviously it depends on how you take it. I thought the defense played tremendous. They gave us a lot of opportunities. They got us the ball back. And as an offense, we need to capitalize and put some points on the board. Watch the tape, figure out our mistakes, see where we need to learn and grow. And Coach Lewis just finished telling us you either win or you learn. And there's a lot of stuff that we're going to learn from this loss and I think apply to next game and the rest of the season going forward.
And next week, the Aztecs hit the road to play the Bears of Berkeley, who did a number against Auburn on the road, 21-14. OSU has what used to be known as the Civil War against the Ducks of the NFL's junior division. Over to you, Lewis, for any more final thoughts you may have.
Thank you, Steve. So what were fans' expectations going into this game? Well, I can only speak for myself. After the big second half last week, the thought was that perhaps the Aztecs will be able to showcase a little of that Aztec fast offense to Oregon State. But tonight, the offense just wasn't fast enough, and all the penalties didn't help. But I'm seeing enough of Danny O'Neal to make me think that he's eventually going to be a really good college quarterback. But who knows how long that's going to take. He is a true freshman facing the speed of college football for the first time. I'm hoping by mid-season we get a true taste of what he can be, but realistically it may take a full season in Sean Lewis's offense before he truly starts to shine. Steve, send us home.
Well, this episode of Aztecs All In is officially in the books. Remember to follow on the X at Aztecs_all_in. And keep those cards and letters coming to aztecsallin@gmail.com. So for Louis Weiner, this is Steve Perez bidding you adieu.